Hi Joe, my name's Richard. I'm a ward manager. I'm a trained mental health nurse by background. I have worked for Signet on and off for 17 years. I've worked for various service lines and different locations across the country. I currently work within the South in Churchill Hospital. I'm a ward manager for the acute service. We support young males requiring acute emergency admissions.
Okay, thank you. And yourself?
Hi, Joe. I'm Sonia. I'm a clinical team lead here at Signet Churchill. I'm currently working on a rehab ward, and I've worked within Signet for about 5 to 6 years, but I've been at Churchill since April. I've worked in various Signet hospitals across the country.
Great stuff. And just to give you a bit of background about myself, really, so I became the Deputy Director of Nursing in April last year. Before that, I was a Regional Nurse Director in the North for 3.5 years. And then for the 14 years before that, I managed a team of nurses across Signet, and I've got quite a varied career prior to that. Okay, so let's talk about collaboration and what it means to each of us. So, Richard, what does it mean to you?
I think at the heart of collaboration, and I think we're talking about that co-production element of ensuring the people we care for are at the heart of decision making, whether that's at the point of admission, throughout to discharge. I think what we do very well within Signet and at our sites, we ensure that individuals are collaboratively involved in their care planning journeys within ward rounds, following up with nursing one-to-one sessions. Any decision made about them, they are involved in. I think also what we have here in terms of collaboration on the kind of wider circle as well, we ensure that family members are being engaged when a person gives consent to share information. We regularly invite family members to ward rounds. We are ensuring that collaborative approach is from day one on admission. We make sure we note down their communication agreements. We also have what's known as the carers passport as well, and we're very much focused on ensuring carers are involved in the people we care for their care. At the same time as well, we have what's known as the People's Council. When we have patients' representatives from each ward, they get together collaboratively with senior members of the MDT, and we also invite our EBEs, our expert by experience, to attend for those People's Council meetings. We look into what you say, this is the outcome, this is what we've done to improve our services. Again, as well, there's no hierarchy in that room. We all come and sit together, we have drinks provided, and it's not just the case of it's one particular discipline's role to chair that meeting as well. We very much encourage the people we care for to take the lead within meetings as well. One initiative that we're trying to incorporate here is getting the people we care for to actually chair their CPA meetings as well, and to kind of lead the discussions that are about them to improve their outcomes and the people we care for satisfaction.
I think that's quite powerful, isn't it? Because that's where we want to be. We want to get people as involved as possible. So, what about for yourself, Sonia?
I think collaborative care for me is just getting the people we care for involved in decision making within their care. Again, as Richard touched upon, all members of the team, friends and family, their external teams, care coordinators as well, and just empowering everyone to make decisions together rather than telling one of our service users what we're going to do with their care. So they have that active involvement in decision making in the whole process.
And I think that puts Signet values right at the front, doesn't it? We've talked about empowerment, we've got this kind of trusting relationship, the caring element, and the integrity. So I think that's really, really helpful. Yeah. So what about external stakeholders?
I think in my experience as a registered nurse, and even more so as a ward manager as well, it's about ensuring we align ourselves to the values, but also when something's not quite gone right, it's about having that duty of candor. It's about being open, honest, and transparent, and it's about increasing trust as well. I think in my experience as a nurse leader, sometimes newly qualified nurses who are not quite sure and not quite confident of what to share or how to share. And I always say, look, it's about being open, honest when something's gone wrong. And we say, look, this is not something we normally anticipate happening. However, it has. But it's about also being open, honest, giving them that reassurance that this is what we're going to do to put it right. And in my experience, carers and family members, next of kins, and the shareholders, they appreciate that transparency. They appreciate that actually something has gone wrong, you've informed us, and they are assured that this is what we're going to do to put things right and give them hopefully a positive solution going forward. And I think that increases the trust within our service that we are safe, we are effective, and we also well led in terms of delivering safe and effective treatment.
So how can it help your career?
I think ensuring we have that collaborative approach with the people we care for, it will bring service satisfaction. When we do our discharge surveys as well, and you can see the feedback we receive, whether it's positive or negative, it gives us a baseline on how we have to develop our service as well. And I always say, guys, please note down the negatives and the positives. Again, within ward rounds as well, we always kind of aim to kind of gain clear feedback from any family members or people we care for to enrich our service as well, and kind of think about things we can do better to achieve the patient outcomes that we want to achieve.
For me, so then, the more experience and the more exposure you have to different situations, that gives you the confidence and the competence to deal with situations. So I think if I think back over my career, there's been lots of things that I've wanted to shy away from because I didn't feel confident doing that. But sometimes when you push yourself forwards and you do these things that are outside of your comfort zone, it makes you, well, you become more competent, but it makes you feel good about yourself. And when you reflect on it, the reflection, you apply for jobs and you think, oh, I haven't got that experience, I haven't got that experience. But actually, there's a lot of transferable skills. And if you've got the confidence and the competence that you've dealt with these things, I think that goes a long way. And I think when people are looking for new staff, you're looking at what's different that person can bring to a role. So when you're looking for staff, you look at what they got different to bring to the role, because you need people within your team, don't you, that have got all different skill sets, so that everybody can complement each other, and you've got a good all-round team. So I think, this area, it's really important. People look for it, but it's going that, if you go in that extra step with doing things like you've just said about, it's great service users kind of chairing their own CPA. Where else do they do that? That's really, really empowering the people in our care to be able to, take the lead in their own care. And I think that's really important. Okay, so we've talked about how that kind of enhances the nurse's experience. So what about the people that we care for? What does it do for them? What does collaboration do for them?
I think it shows first and foremost that we care, that we are co-producing their package of care. We are formulating their care plan with them. We are building that trust, and it's about having that mutual respect for one another. It's about also ensuring their rights are upheld, that they are informed of any decisions made about them. We have regular reviews where they are able to make decisions about their care. they're able to formulate their treatment care plans with the MDT. So that consists of the RC, the specialty doctors, the psychologist, the occupational therapist, and the nursing team. And the individual, the person we care for, is at the heart of that care planning approach. We regularly review the care plans with the individuals that we care for to ensure that co-production is at the heart of their care. And I think as a result of that, we have individuals that receive personal tailored care, which increases their overall satisfaction and arguably reduces the time spent within hospitals. And very early on as well, we have that collaborative approach where we involve family members and the care coordinators, the community teams, so everyone's on board as well, so everyone's fully informed of the decisions around the individual we care for.
And it's important that we do that from the beginning, isn't it? You know, from the beginning of someone's admission, even if they're going to be on a rehab ward for 9, 12 months, whatever, I think it's really important that we have people involved right from the beginning so that they're going through that journey. They can see how people are improving. They can see they can organise the next steps really for that person and help them, you know, to move on to the correct kind of level of support that's required. So we talked about collaboration with the people that we care for and different stakeholders. So what about within our teams, the teams that we work with? How does that look and how does it work?
Yeah, so I think collaboration within our teams is really important to have that effective communication. And when the people we care for, can see that we're working well as a team, it builds their confidence that they're receiving good care. Um, I think we do it very well here when we work with occupational therapists, with psychology, with doctors and the nurses, and the whole MDT when we sit down together, when we go through care plans, do risk assessments together, go through start risk assessments. Within this hospital, we sit down and we'll have a team discussion about it rather than psychology will complete one thing, nurses will do it separately. And we've got into that culture here where we'll sit down and go through that, whereas before it would be the named nurse will do this and psychology will complete one bit. And everyone will have different opinions or different information to feed back. So just bouncing ideas off each other, working within that team, gives us a better idea about the services that we're working with.
So Richard, what's your thoughts on collaboration within the team?
It's crucial. We need to be able to work as a MDT. We need to kind of display that courtesy for one another. We all bring our own knowledge in regards to our education, our backgrounds, our experience within nursing practice. I think ultimately it's about listening to one another's decision, ensuring that there's not a power dynamic within the MDT, that everyone's heard and everyone's working within the best interest of the people we care for. I think ultimately I've been quite privileged to work amongst many colleagues who I have the utmost respect for, and it has been reciprocated back. I think ultimately as well, it's about decision sharing as well. It's not about one discipline making a decision for the person involved. I think it's about that multidisciplinary approach into making a formulated, agreed decision. Evidence suggests that an MDT approach is going to be one that is that one will reduce risk and one that will be within the best interest with the patient as well, because whilst one discipline thinks that this is the right treatment pathway, arguably there could be another critical perspective from another discipline as well, which may be crucial in meeting that individual's needs.
So our last question really for today is, it can be tough being a nurse and all these things that you need to do, and we've covered lots of areas around, care plans, CPAs, all the collaboration that needs to take place. What can we what can we say to our listeners to develop their collaboration skills? What's the takeaways?
I think for me, it's about reflection as well. I think it's about after a long day, whether you're traveling home, is to kind of think about some of the things that may have gone really well. And you think about, well, actually, I did that really well. Let me bank that for next time I come up against this. I think at the same time, as well, as a nurse within practice, if you've kind of managing a situation where collaboratively it's gone wrong or you haven't quite mastered the art of co-production, because we are human beings, we make mistakes, we're not always going to achieve that satisfaction every time. I think again, it's about taking a step back and having discussions with your colleagues as well. Okay, this was the situation, this is how I handled it, this was the result. I wasn't satisfied as a nurse. What advice could you give me? So next time I am faced with that situation and you have taken the time to reflect, then you should be more equipped to overcome and work better collaboratively going forward.
Yeah. Anything to add, Sonia?
For me, I think an important message would be that, again, as Richard was saying, we're not perfect, we're all human, and having them discussions within the team are really important. Having debriefs, giving each other feedback of not always about what's gone wrong or what we could do better, but about what is going right. And then we can bring that forward into the care we provide to provide better care to the people we work with.
Yeah, and I think to add to that, even if things are not going right, it's to sit down and, as a group, isn't it, and collaboratively look at what's not right, what do we need to do to make it right, you know, and pulling on people's expertise to make sure that whatever isn't right, we can move forward with.
Definitely. And then a lot of our staff, some people will have certain strengths compared to other people, and it's about bringing them together to work better as a team. And it's not always about the hierarchy of staff. It's important to realise that with the people we work with, there might be a staff member that would have a better rapport with that patient, that could work in a better way if it's for de-escalation. And it's not always about the medicating, it's about just talking to that the person we're working with and seeing what do they want from us, what can we do better for them.
I think sometimes as well, when we touch on that co-production and that collaborative care, I think also for me is when we get it right with family members, when we brought them into the hospital, when they are not quite aware of mental health care systems, when there may be stigma associated due to particular cultures, or they may not have had exposure to mental health settings and the treatment we do provide. At times, it's about giving them some education, about giving them some support. It's about signposting them to support services, whether it's the carers advocacy service we provide, or whether it's being able to signpost them to support organisations within the community which they can engage in.
So we've come to the end of our conversation now. So if the listeners like what they hear, what do you suggest that they do?
They can subscribe to the podcast.
They can also share it with their friends, family and colleagues.
Okay, so it's been great chatting. Just enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, Jen.
Thanks, Jen.
You too. Thank you.